Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's 10:01 a.m. Um, Glad you were here. Sorry I was a couple seconds late. Um, Joe, I got my coffee. Hopefully you got yours. Allison, I don't have any water. It's a filtered water. I love that joke. It's terrible and it's awesome. Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday and it is Coffee and Conversations. I don't think there's any announcements. I totally forgot to look. We start baby bottle campaign. So if you didn't grab one of them, make sure you grab one of these to support CareNet. Fill it up with change, a check. It'd be easier on Leanne if you put a check because it's not as heavy. But let's be honest, I'll put it in her car for her, and then they'll probably help her take it out whenever she takes it to CareNet. So we would love for you to donate to the Baby Bottle campaign. If you are writing a check, make sure you make it out to CareNet, not VVCC or Valley View or whatever you normally put on your giving check. So we would love for you to grab one of these, fill it out, and bring it back over the next couple of weeks. We have them in the office during the week. So if you didn't grab one on Sunday, we can give you one during the week. So, and this goes to support all their causes of the pro-life cause of helping mothers and families in crisis situation to be able to support and encourage them to make the choice for life for their child. They do some really cool things where if you go through classes, the parents can earn I don't remember, Care Bucks or something. And all the classes they go through, if they go through all of them, they can earn money that they can spend in the store to buy things that they'll need for the baby, like really nice things, not like just little things, but they can earn the car seat, I think, or a crib, all kinds of stuff, diapers. And so we want to support this because, we want to put our money where our mouth is, and we support life and we care about the unborn. We also care about life all the way through. But this is specifically to highlight life for the unborn because life does start at conception. And so I'd love for you to grab one of these and fill it up and bring it back. I think she said February 6th is when they all need to be back by. I could be wrong about that date though. So would love. I feel like it's past February 6th, but I thought she said February 6th. I don't know. If you have a question of what needs to be back by, ask me later and I'll get you the answer. That's the only announcement I can think of at the moment. Although one that kind of ties into what we're going to talk about this morning and a bit of additional reflection on the sermon from Sunday by Pastor Craig, committed to the family gathering, is branch groups. They have started back up after the beginning of the new year. And if you're not in one, we'd encourage you to get involved. That's a great way to fellowship and be united with other believers from the church and grow in your faith and support one another. Have an opportunity to fellowship on a different level than you do on a Sunday morning. And so it's worthwhile participating and joining one to have that support when life goes crazy, and to have help and have people know you in a different way than the Sunday morning pleasantries. You get to talk about things on another level that you wouldn't get to talk about on a Sunday morning typically. So I would encourage you to get involved in a branch group if you're not already. And I know they're a blessing to everyone that are participates. Oh my goodness, that's terrible grammar. That participates. So one of the verses that Pastor Craig brought up on Sunday, which I thought, it's such an excellent sermon. I had asked Craig to preach that sermon, that topic, and for no particular reason. And you know what? I think he was the perfect person to preach that message. As we've considered this idea of what it means, if we commit ourselves to the gathering of the saints, to being with the body, we're going to grow spiritually. And he brought out some personal illustrations and examples of how critical that is. It didn't even occur to me that, Craig had such a he had two critical moments in his life where he found that the church body he was a part of really came around and supported him in the midst of crisis. And that is an incredible testimony, both to God and to the churches that he has been a part of. I mean, to go through the situation with his son, with Seth, and then also with his late wife, those two things, and really have the body of believers that he was part of at those points, and then really come around him and support him in those moments. What an incredible testimony and an incredible reminder of what we miss out on when we're not united to a body of believers, when we're not actively participating. You can have an incredible crisis going on in your life, but if you're not actively participating in the body of believers by coming to church, by coming to the public gathering, by participating in things like branch groups or mentoring or men's Bible study or whatever variety of things that we have, if you're not there, people don't know. If you're only receiving by sitting on the other side of the screen, you're missing out on something incredible, both to be a blessing to others, which he pointed out, like, you can't use your gifts when you're by yourself. You can't. You can't encourage others when you're by yourself. And I think he did such a good job of helping us to see, like, why it is so important to be united to a body of believers and to show up. When you show up, it's different. You go from it being one directional to being multi-directional, because let's be honest, it goes to the people to your left and to your right and behind you, in front of you. And it's different when you are in the room, when you are physically with the people. God works in a different way. Like when we think of Jesus and his and him coming in the flesh, like, could God have like put a giant thing in the sky and said, "Hey, everyone," like, how many different ways could God have? I mean, technology is going to fall apart because Jesus had to die on the cross and blood had to be shed. But God chose his primary means of revealing himself to humanity by coming in the flesh, by sitting and eating with people, by being in the room with them. You want to know what God looks like? You look at Jesus, and what did Jesus do? Jesus came in the flesh. Now, he did that because he needed to die on the cross, but he also did it to fully reveal to us who God is. He's the exact imprint, and he was in the room. God was in the flesh. God wasn't disembodied. It wasn't just talking good. And it's so important and so critical to actually be in the room and actually be with your brothers and sisters. Because you know what? If you're on the other side of the screen, I can't hear your voice. You might hear my voice. You might, you're watching me, so you're hearing my voice. I'm hoping. Otherwise, this looks really funny and is probably really boring. But if all you're doing is watching on Sunday morning, you're missing out on something, and I'm missing out on something. I'm missing out on hearing your voice of contributing to the song of the saints to glorify God. I'm missing out on seeing you fellowship with other believers, of seeing you take the elements of communion and remember our Lord's death. If you're not in the room with me, I miss out on seeing the testimony of your faith. And I think that kind of ties into one of the verses that Pastor Craig read, and I think is so critical in this. And it's Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25. He says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." So if you look at what the author of Hebrews is saying, he's saying, we need to think about, and Craig pointed out, like we need to consider how to stir one another up to love and good deeds. So it's not just about me getting something to stir me up, but how to stir you up too. If you're not in the room, you can't stir others on. You can't stir them up to love and good works. If you're not in the room, I can't exercise my gifts in service to you. If you're not in the room, you can't exercise your gifts in service to others. How do you love if there's no one around to love you? And then he says, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, all the more as you see the day drawing near. This verse, it's almost exclusively about us giving in our participation with the body of believers. If we're not there, we can't encourage our brothers and sisters in the Lord. Sunday morning gathering, church, coming together is not just about what we receive, it's about what we give too. And I think that's so critical. When all you're doing is watching, you're purely receiving, you're not giving. And one of the purposes of the body of believers is to gather together. It's church, ecclesia. It literally means, as Craig pointed out, called out ones. It means people who are gathered together for a purpose. Friends, it is so important that we gather together because it's not easy, right? Like I need to be encouraged by you. I want you to be encouraged by us. And I thought his message was such a great encouragement to us to make sure that we are making it a priority to gather with other believers for the purposes of edification and service and ministry and growth and glorifying God. Like all these things, we miss out on so much when we're by ourselves. And I just thought Craig did an excellent job on that. And, he is a walking testimony to the value and purpose of being together in a body of believers. I wonder how, we have, how do single moms who live far away from any semblance of family, how do they make it when they get sick or they need to go to the hospital? What do they do? I don't know how they would make it when they're by themselves. But if they're part of a body of believers, I know what happens. If their body of believers is genuine and good, they have people they come alongside them that take their kids if they have to go to the ER because of a medical emergency, or what do you do with like someone whose family has all moved away and they're elderly and there's no one to help take care of them. If they're part of a body of believers, they have a family. And family happens not just on the side of a screen, but it happens when you're in the room together. If your family meal only happened with you sitting across the screen and you weren't sharing the meal, it'd be pretty boring and sad family meal. But when we come together, when we are a body of believers and we commit ourselves to it, we'll grow. Pretty much, I think Craig pointed out, like, how much of the New Testament can we not do by ourselves? How much of our spiritual life can we not do when we're by ourselves? And so I hope you will, like the commitment to the word that we talked about last week, that you'll make a commitment to participating in the body of believers, and not just in a mono-directional, in single direction way, but actually genuinely participating in the gathering of the believers. Because friends, it's important for your growth. And if you make that commitment, I think you will grow this year. Each of these four weekends, that 4 messages that we're talking about, these 4 topics, I believe if you make a commitment to these 4 things for the year, so stewardship, but not just money, stewarding your time, viewing all of your life belonging to God, commitment to the word, commitment to the gathering, and a commitment to prayer, which is this coming weekend. Pastor Allen's going to share with us, which I'm really looking forward to. If you commit to these things this year, I'm pretty sure you'll grow spiritually. It'll be the right soil environment to see your spiritual growth foster. Maybe it's like putting a bit of manure in the dirt, digging around the plants and putting some extra water. These things, when we commit to them, will help us grow. So, friends, I hope you'll make that commitment and you'll endeavor to strengthen it where it might be weak. And if you're not doing it, I would encourage you to do it. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions, you need anything, let us know, and we will talk to you then. I think that's it. All right. Signing off.